Okay, the job is to get the alternator out. Simple job on many cars. There's an issue on this one in that we have overhead so low because of the way this engine is mounted in the in here that we're going to have to remove this housing for the windshield wipers. So the first thing we're going to do is pull off the blades, both blades. Let's take this cover off here and then unbolt this, get them both out of the way, and then we can start removing a series of screws. There's 1, 2, there's one back here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 of them, and then this cover can come off. Okay, this is 15mm. Okay, before we pull these out, let's mark them. Just a dab of some white out here, so that we can go back in the same orientation. So now we'll just tap this lightly with a hammer. Off it comes. Okay, next up, looks like we've got some T25 screws to take out. 1, 2, 3, looks like about 7 or 8 of them. So we'll get all those out of the way. And just make this one, don't need a right angle screwdriver over here on the end. Okay, these Phillips over here on the ends don't need to come out. Okay, so we have this type of fastener here, and this pushes this way. And these are all along here. There's another one here. Okay, so these are just little keepers. Just press down over there. They aren't really nuts that they put on here. But you can get them off still. I've got a 16mm on here. Some of them pop right off, and some of them you gotta kind of turn. So got all these off now. There's one there, one there. Then they should lift up. This piece lifts straight up. This windshield, or this windshield wiper top cover. Now we can see what we're up against as far as getting the other part out. Okay, there's the wiper tubing. We'll have to disconnect. Okay, here's a washer line. Just twist it off here. And we'll get the entire lovely piece out of the way. Okay, let's look this over. Looks like we're in for some bolt removal here. This one, this one, this one, this one. These larger ones that are bolting to the framework here. This one, this one, this one. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the battery. You know, this is, I guess, optional. Whenever I'm working around anything electrical, even when I unplug anything electrical, I just like to disconnect the battery. I know this is just a wiper motor here, but yeah, I feel better already. Okay, this is just a drain. Water debris that builds up in there runs it off. And there's one over on the other side as well. Way over here. So, that one's a little harder to reach, of course. Actually, it's going to be easier maybe when we unplug the wiring connector there. So in this style, you get under here with a screwdriver. Pull up on that locking tab. It's like squeeze there and pull it out. Okay, so I can get behind here and get this other drain out. Alright, I guess everything connected to the bottom part of this pan, I'm going to call it. Housing, pan, whatever you want to call it, is now disconnected. So now it's just going to be a matter of taking all the bolts out. These 5 upper ones, 10mm. Wouldn't hurt to give these a squirt to some penetrant. Looks like there's some rust on them. Yeah, they're coming off pretty easily. I'm going to put a little lube on them when I indices on them when I put them back in now. These are 13 millimeter. It's like there's 6 of them. I got a 3-inch extension on here, which I think should be plenty. And then there's one way over in the corner over here. So far I'm getting by just with the 3-inch without any extra. These aren't worth much. Going the other way, there's one down here. There's one over here. So now that these are broken free, simple matter, just turning them out. Hey, and if you drop them, they're just going to fall into the bottom of this wiper pan here. Okay, so we turned all 6 of these out. They're all the same length, so you don't have to mark them. And now, let's see about lifting this out. Got to lift a little bit to get it off of those studs on top. Trying not to mangle anything, such as the brake reservoir. Out this thing comes. Now, I've had the insulation kind of come loose on here. I'm going to fix that now. What an excellent opportunity to do that. Okay, first up we got to get the serpentine belt off. That's a 15 millimeter box end I have there on the tensioner. Just pull it back and slip the belt off. See, I already have it most of the way off. There it is. Just leave it down there for now. Okay, now there's a 15 millimeter bolt. You can see it there. There's kind of a arching bracket in the back, and there's a bolt on there that mounts the back of the alternator. Okay, so you can see what I have on here. I've got 3/8 inch equipment on here, 15 millimeter socket. I've got a universal adapter which allows me to get this in here, and then I've got the 3/8 inch ratchet. And let's see, there it comes. So this isn't too bad with this little rig I've got here. So we're able to turn this now by hand, and there it is. There's the back bolt. Okay, so now we're ready to pull off the big through bolts here. 15 millimeter both sides. And that's about it. Pull the nut off. This is just one long bolt. To take it up, not down. There. We're free at last. And now, even now, still a tight fit up here. Got this air conditioning line here. What we're going to do next. Now we're right at the electrical connections here. So we'll disconnect those. Okay, so let's take off the large wire. This is a 10 millimeter nut on a stud here. Now this lower bit of control wiring here just unplugs. Okay, jostle it around a little, and out it comes. And it's out. Okay, we're going to do the reinstall now. Okay, we're in there. So it's just a matter now of plugging things back in. Okay, first of all we're going to do the main lug. This had actually been repaired once, that's why that's not stock on there. There's a 10mm. Let's make good contact with it. You don't need to torque the crap out of it or anything. You'll find our other one. This connector here. And it snaps into place. Done with the electrical. Okay, let's turn and mount this then. Let's get it back on the mount here. Okay, I'm not going to tighten that up just yet because I want to get that other one mounted back here, the back mount, in place. And it's got to move around a little bit to get that. And here it is. So just reaching back here. I'm able to turn this in most of the way by hand. Okay, so we're going to get the bolt behind there, over our rig here. $15mm. All right. That's good. Okay, now the serpentine belt goes back on. Okay, so get the belt back over where it belongs on this side. Get your 15mm as far to the as forward as you can. So now what I've got is a little S-hook hooked into the this engine mount here. So now I can use that to hold the tension off in the tension off position, and now I can more easily get this belt seated. Otherwise this is really frustrating for one person to do by themselves. You'd almost need two, but still as it is, you commonly have to crawl underneath there and make sure that gets around the power steering pump on the bottom and the crankshaft before you pull it up back on the alternator. Okay, so when you've got it off on all the lower belt components right on the belt, just pull it back over the alternator. Okay, got it all in place then. You can take out your wrench, double check everything, make sure it didn't move, seated fine. Look at your routing diagram, make sure you didn't get it on the wrong side of an idler, which I've done, and you're done with that part. Remember, this has to hang on these 4 studs, these brackets there. Gotta slip it underneath. Okay, there it is. And then there are 6 of these 13mm bolts that hold this pan for the most part. Having freshly taken this out, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in putting this back together. It's all fairly fresh in the mind and fairly simple. Okay, and you can go after these all tightened up. There it is. 410mm. I'm going to go grab a little never seize for these. These are kind of rusty. Okay. Little never seize on these rusty guys. Okay, next comes this wiper cover. Before you get in this all the way, remember the washer hose back through. The grommet that's on there, put it all the way back through. May as well connect it up right away. And then this should just sit right down on here. Got to get it over this wiper stud for that wiper there. And get the weather strip kind of out of the way and let it sit down. It's really kind of surprising how much more room you have to work when you get this out of here. Making a number of jobs on this car somewhat palatable. What we have next are these little keepers. Just going to call them keepers because they truly aren't anything as exotic as or substantial as a bolt. But you just press those back down over there. They just basically hold this down with applying absolutely no torque to them whatsoever. So there's 3 more. We'll put those in. Start putting the torque. 6 of these back in. One thing I should know: watch for the weather stripping up here, because it can get a little hosed up. Okay, so we'll finish up the other 6, the other few that are left here. Okay, wiper blades are going on next. Here's where our little mark is going to come in handy. Put these back in where they were. And the 15mm nut. And the 15mm nut. Cover. Repeat on the other side. Okay, don't forget about your drains. One on this side, matching one on the other side. Plug in the wiper motor. Tighten those up with a 10mm and we're back in business. Okay, now that we've reinstalled the alternator, we're going to charge this back up. Right now I have a DC voltmeter hooked up to the battery, and I'm going to start it up and we should see a charging voltage develop. I also, back here, if you can see it, I've got a amp probe, a current measuring device hooked up on the positive wires, the B+ on the battery, and that'll also verify that we have good charging current going on. So we'll give it a start. We saw our voltage jump up to 13.8. Let's have a look at the voltmeter, the ammeter back there once. Got a lot of reflection here, but it looks like it's pulling around 4 amps. It indicates that we're getting a charge now from the alternator on the battery. So, looks like this job's done. I'd like to thank you for watching the video. Also, you'll notice up in the right-hand corner, I have a link to a donation tab. If you got something out of this, save some money, get some ideas, appreciate it if you could donate a little something to the channel to help me be able to make more of this kind of video. Thanks for watching again.